One of the bigger problems with mouse and keyboard control of spaceflight in Starfield is the lack of auto-centering. If you're using a controller or a flight stick, you will be able to just release the stick and the ship will straighten up automatically. It's relatively easy and it allows you to fly the ship by feel, or at least more by feel than with a mouse and keyboard. There is still the issue of the controls being a little mushy, a little sluggish, that can sometimes have you overshooting. Now with mouse and keyboard, the way you combat this is by focusing on the reticule that's currently at the centre of the ship. If you want to straighten up, you move the reticule right back to the centre. And this does work, but it requires that you focus on that rather than, whatever's going on around you. This is doable, but in tough combat, for example, where you're making very aggressive moves, you're looking for your enemy, you're shooting, suddenly having to look at the centre of the screen to straighten up and then look back at your enemy is somewhat problematic, especially at the tougher difficulties. This problem is amplified if you invert Y, because this reticule does not behave the way a cursor behaves if you do that. If you don't invert Y, trust me on this, it's just bizarre. Now there are several solutions to this problem. You could of course just use a controller, or find a way to get joystick working in this game. I've managed that, so it is possible. You could of course do the thing that I know someone is typing below, which is stop playing invert Y, if that's the thing that's the problem. And yes, that is true. You could stop playing invert Y, spend a couple of weeks flying even worse and possibly feeling acute nausea until you get used to it, or you could spend 30 seconds installing a mod. Because there is a mod that gives you auto-centering. It's called Flight Controls Autoalign. And basically this is how it works. I'm going to move, take my hand off the mouse, and it just auto-centers. Simple as that, basically. It does exactly what it says on the tin, except if I put it far enough away, it keeps going. I bring it back a little closer, and now it auto-centers. This is a complete game changer. It really is. The ship is still somewhat sluggish, but I can now fly, turning over here, and then without really looking at the centre of the screen, I can move the reticule back towards it, and it will find the centre all by itself. It's a very simple yet brilliant little mod, and if you are still flying your ship with mouse and keyboard, and you can use SFSE, which at the moment is only Steam users, I highly recommend this. There is also a key that when held will disable the auto-centering. It's B by default. I'm pressing it right now, and as long as I hold it, I have, well, pretty much vanilla control. So if you're wanting to do very fine control of the ship without it auto-centering all the time, you can. I can just keep flying like this, and then when I release the B key, it centers. And in actual fact, I can use the same key if I press it and release quickly to center instantly. So it's kind of multi-function. Basically, as long as you're pressing it, you've got no auto centering, and as soon as you release it, you auto center. So a quick tap in the middle of combat will straighten you up. The mod is also extremely customizable. You can, for example, change the key that disables the auto-centering to whatever you want, or you can even turn it off. You can change the speed at which the auto-centering happens. So if you want it to be a little slower and smoother, you can do that. Or if you want to speed it up so it's more or less instantaneous, you can do that too. You can also set when the auto-centering kicks in. By default, it's set to 65% of the distance from the centre, where the reticule is now, to the outer circle. It's around about here. If I go there, it will not centre. If I go a little closer, it will centre. You can actually customise that and make it larger or smaller. So if you wanted a tighter circle, maybe only like 30% or even 25%, and you were confident in your ability to basically get the reticule back to that point without looking at it, maybe you do want a much tighter circle. And that is actually what this mod allows you to do. It allows you to take your eyes off the reticule. You can fly, I can be watching the horizon of the planet and I can put the reticule back at the centre without really looking at it. I know I don't have to get it pixel perfect. This means I can keep situational awareness. I can keep my eyes on the planets, or more importantly, on the ships, yeah? If I need to be looking for my enemies, I can do so and use only my peripheral vision to control the reticule. This is a game changer. Installing this mod is trivially easy. It's a standard mod. If you've not installed mods before, I will leave a link down below to a video showing you how to do that. You should know it does require the script extender SFSE, which at the time of making this video is Steam only. And once you've installed it, to customize the mod, you need to edit one ini file. If you're using Vortex, just right click and go to Open in File Manager. This will take you to where the files are actually installed. Click Data, SFSE, Plugins, and then edit the INI file with whatever text editor you use. If you are not seeing the .ini, go up to View and make sure you have file name extensions selected. I'm going to open it with Notepad++. The first value you can change is wait before realign, and this is how long it takes before the auto center kicks in, and it's measured in frames. So if you're locked at 60 frames a second, 30 will give you approximately half a second delay. You can also change the realign speed. It's currently set at 0.9. Lower is faster. So if you want it to be snappier, you could change it to something like 0.3 and it would be 3 times faster. I'm going to leave it as it is for now. The offset is the distance from the center as a percentage, well, not a percentage, a ratio from the center to the outer edge, currently set at 65. If you want a really tight circle, you might change it to 0.25. If you wanted a bigger circle, so essentially if you weren't doing wild swings, it always auto-centers, change it to something like 0.9. And if you want to change the key from the default of B, you will need a code to put here, and you can find all the codes for the keys at this link. It will go to a site that gives a full list of the possible options. If you just want to turn this off, simply change the number to -1. That will disable the realign key. And that's it. It really is quite a lightweight and simple mod, but it has a big effect when in game. I found it a lot easier to fly when using mouse and keyboard. Now, I personally have made the switch to joystick now. I've got a flight stick, but of course many people don't have a flight stick, or they don't want to be switching between different devices when, stepping in and out of a ship, and so they want to stick with mouse and keyboard. If you do, and you've been finding it a little difficult to center the ship, this mod is well worth checking out. Anyway, I hope this video was useful, and of course I will be back with more such videos in the near future. You are more than welcome to join me for those videos. I look forward to seeing you there, and until then, remember as always, have fun.
This is where we belong.